Hello there, grade 4. Today we are going to talk about properties of a figure. So we have a square and a rectangle. Okay. So what do you mean by properties? These are basically basic information that we can get about a figure. So we have the square and a rectangle here. Properties of a square: all sides are equal. Okay. All angles are equal. All angles are right angles. Okay, ano ba ibig sabihin ng right angles? If you can still remember our lesson, no? Right angles are angles that form those tiny little squares of the corner. And this basically represents that this measures 90 degrees. Okay? And it also says there that opposite sides are parallel lines. So opposite sides, ano ang ibig sabihin ng opposite signs? When you say opposite, we are referring to across, no? From this point across to the other side, this point. So these two lines are parallel. Do you still remember our lesson? Parallel refers to lines that basically, even if you're going to extend them, no matter what, they will not meet. Okay, these are examples of parallel lines. If you can still remember this, I'll just explain further. So we can say that line AB is parallel to line CD. Okay, if you encounter lines such as like this, they are not parallel because if you're going to extend this line, at some point it will intersect with the other line. Okay, so medyo klaro. Okay, so tatanggalin ko muna to. I will remove this information here. Oops. Yan. Okay. So, properties of a rectangle naman tayo. So, opposite sides are equal. Basically, halos the same lang sila. They are almost the same. A rectangle, the properties of a square and a rectangle are almost identical except that for a rectangle, not all sides are equal. Okay? But instead, opposite sides are equal. Like what I've said earlier, opposite sides. Ibig sabihin, this one is the same as this one. So no matter what is the length here, for example, if this measures 6 centimeters, the other side should also measure 6 centimeters. Okay? And if this side measures 12 centimeters, the opposite of it should also measure 12 centimeters because opposite sides are equal. The same lang din dito sa square. All sides are equal. So, ibig sabihin, if this measures 5 centimeters, which means all sides should have the same measurement. Okay? Ganun lang kadali. All sides should have the same measurement for a square. For a rectangle naman, opposite. Although we already did this last school year, pero this is just a review. Okay, para lang for those na medyo nakalimutan na yung rules. Okay, going to the next. All angles are equal. So here we go again. All angles are right angles. So the same lang talaga sa square din. Right angles, in which it represents 90 degrees. Okay. Opposite sides are parallel lines. So as what I've explained earlier as well. Ganun lang din. This line is parallel to this one, and this one is parallel to the other side, to the opposite side. Okay? So yan ang ibig sabihin yan sa properties. The basic information of properties of a square and a rectangle. Maraming properties pa yung ibang shapes din. Pero for now, we are focusing only sa properties of a square and a rectangle. Okay? So basically, how to know the difference if a figure is a square or a rectangle? Medyo given na yan, di ba? It's quite obvious that for a square, obviously, makikita nyo talaga agad yan sa shape. That, sorry for my not so perfect square, pero just to get the idea that all sides are equal, so thus we can say that this is a square. While for a rectangle, you will obviously see the difference that one pair is longer than the other. It can be drawn in different angles. Okay? So it's quite obvious that in this case, this is a rectangle. So that's basically how you know the difference between the two. By simply looking at it, malalaman nyo kaagad that it's a square and this one is a rectangle. Although, there are times that hindi nyo ma-identify. I mean, you will only know once you are going to measure it talaga. Because what if one, you might see them as the same, pero hindi nyo alam that, let's say, this is 5 centimeters, this is 5.2 centimeters. So at some point, this is longer than compared to this one. So thus, this can be equivalent to as a rectangle because we have to follow the properties of a square that says all sides are equal, in which in this case, 5 centimeters is not equal to 5.2 centimeters. Okay. Thus making this shape as a rectangle. Okay? You get the point? Although, by simply looking, kung pinapa-identify lang sa inyo through with the use of your eyes lang, walang problema. We can basically say that this shape is a square. But once you are going to make use of a measuring tool such as a ruler, so malalaman talaga natin that there's a difference between. Okay? Okay, so there are situations dyan sa book sa worksheets ninyo that you are asked to solve for a certain value. For in this case, you're asked to solve for the value of x and y, in which x is here and y is there. Okay. So, first is to investigate, no, you really need to investigate the shape. Ano nga ba ang shape that is given? Obviously, we have all these 4 lines drawn. 1, 2, 3. Single lines. Single lines silang lahat. So, which indicates that all sides are equal. So, we can say that this shape is a square, which means all sides are equal. And by simply looking at it, nakikita nyo that one side measures 7 centimeters, which means x and y should also be 7 centimeters. Okay? Then may mga situations din kayo, let's say situation number 2. Situation number 2. Okay. Then you're asked to solve for x and y. Okay, solving for x, solving for y. Okay, sa situation 2 natin ngayon, you're asked to solve for x and y, in which you can now confirm that this shape is not a square by simply looking at it. And it's a rectangle. Okay, it's a rectangle, which means opposite sides are equal. To solve for x and y, you have to identify x and y in the figure. Solving for x is here, so which means the opposite side is this one. And this side measures 9 centimeters, which means that opposite sides are equal nga, diba? So, properties ng rectangle. So, we can say that x is equivalent to 9 centimeters as well. And getting the logic there, opposite side, y should also be equivalent to 4 centimeters. Okay? Basic yan, masosolve nyo kaagad. But there are certain numbers na medyo kina-complicate yung number, no? Kasi there are like clues. They give you clues instead of direct number. For example, the next number. I'll write it down first. Okay, so for example, in this case, no, number 3, the length is twice the value of the width, or in our Singaporean book, they use the word or the term breadth instead rather than width. Okay, ano nga bang length and width? What do you mean by length and width? For a usual shape, two-dimensional shape, the one that is in horizontal is the length. And the one in vertical is the width. Okay, so this is for a two-dimensional figure. Sa three-dimensional figure, iba na. Okay? So anyway, just to show you the difference between length and width nga. Okay? So it says here, it says there that the length is twice the value of the width. Ano nga ba? Ano ang clue word natin dito? It says twice. Which means the length this one is twice compared to x. So if our length is 20 and it is twice the value of x, what could be the value of x? Okay. If you notice that our width is shorter, diba? So which means we should be going, the number or the value of x should be smaller than 20. Okay. So ano nga ba ang value niyan? Ano nga ba, what will you multiply with 2? Kasi nga sabi dito, uh, what will you multiply with 2? Kasi nga twice, di ba? It is twice the value of x, twice the value of the width rather, sorry. Twice the value of the width. Twice the value of the width. Ano nga ba ang value ng width natin? What's the value of our width? It's 20 centimeters. So, it's sabi dyan twice the value eh. Twice. So, that means 2 times. Okay? So, what will you multiply with 2? That will give you 20. Okay? So, malaking factor dito ang multiplication and division skills natin. Okay. So, solving this, to solve for 2, what will you multiply with 2 nga para mabigyan tayo ng 20? And obviously, it's 10. 2 times 10 will give you 20. So, ibig sabihin dito, the value of x is 10 centimeters. Okay. So, using the same problem, pero different figure, I'm gonna erase this. Dito naman ngayon, opposite ang ibibigay natin. We are going to give the value of the width. Kaya, paminsan dito, no, you don't literally just need math skills. Dapat may common sense din tayo dito. Common sense is very important in this case. Let's say we have a figure similar to A. But in this case, what's given is this one. Ang length na ngayon ang given. I mean, ang width rather, sorry. In this case, sa letter B, width is given, which is 7 centimeters. So, we are supposed to solve for the length. Same lang to Same lang to yung problem. The length is twice the value of the width. Okay. So, paano natin isosolve to? Knowing that this has twice the value of 7. Twice the value of 7. Diyan pa lang alone, no? Twice the value of, kasi let's make use of the terms first, of the width. Changing it, twice the value. Ano bang width natin? Anong width natin? Our width is 7 centimeters. Twice the value of 7 centimeters. Okay? Ni-replace natin to. Twice the value of the width to 7 centimeters because our width nga is 7 centimeters. Twice the value, 2 times the value of 7 centimeters. 2 times 7 will give you 14 centimeters. So which means in this case, our x is equivalent to 14 centimeters. Okay? So there are certain parts nga ng exam ng worksheet ninyo na medyo mahirap i-solve. Pero sige lang. Try nyo i-answer yan. You just need basic comprehension to solve for the missing values. Well, yung other numbers naman, medyo mahirap yan in terms of solving. Okay. So, try nyo. Multiple shapes naman, putting them together. So, let's say, for example, and we have a square here. Okay, just to make it clear that square yan. Okay. So, for example, in this case, the total length from this point to this point, let's say it's 20 centimeters. Okay, I'm gonna stay with low numbers para mas maintindihan natin. And you know that the length from this point to this point is roughly around, let's say, mga 6 centimeters. So now you're asked to solve for this one. How long is this? Okay, so this is basically making use of the given examples, the given figures. So in this case, all you have to do is to fill out the data muna. What do you mean by filling out the data, Teacher Mark? So as much as possible, identify the length of possible sides na meron tayo. For example, ito, opposite sides, di ba? So this is plus this is a square. So we can say that this also measures 6 centimeters. And since this measures 6 centimeters, we can also say that this side also measures 6 centimeters. And since this is a square, we can also say that the topmost part measures 6 centimeters as well. Okay. And if you notice, if you are going to take this line, let's try to take this line out dito. Ang sabi dyan, kasi opposite sides nga, di ba? So we can say that you know that the total length of this part is 20 centimeters as given there. And at some point, it is broken down in which it says here that this is equivalent to 6 centimeters. Question there is how long is this? What are we going to do? Given ang ating total length which is 20, correct? 20 centimeters yan. Part of it is 6 centimeters. If another part is missing, it means that you have to subtract. Okay? When a total is given, again, if you have the total and part of it is given, which is in this case, part of total, and this is also our total, okay? So total to, and that one is part of total. And what is missing is also another part of the other part. Which means if the missing part is the other part of total, all you have to do is to subtract. Diretso na yan. Okay, subtract. Which means to solve for that missing value, you get the the total, which is 20 centimeters, the greater value, minus the smaller part, which is 6 centimeters. And 20 centimeters minus 6 centimeters will basically give you 14 centimeters. Okay, which means that the missing value here is equivalent to 14 centimeters. Okay? I hope it makes sense to you. Kasi yung other shapes dyan sa book ninyo, mas dumadami na siya. Okay? So, for now, all you have to do is to answer from page 75 all the way to page 80. Okay? Ganyan lang muna. Pages to answer, pages 75 to 80. Okay? Sorry about that. So, yan lang ang gagawin nyo for today. Kasi sa Wednesday, medyo mahirap na yung remaining. Hindi naman siya mahirap. Actually, it's easier. I find it easier, yung angles. I find the angles easier compared to this one. Ito yung mga missing parts. Most of you will most likely have difficulty with this one. Okay, anyway, andito lang si Teacher Mark. I can guide you. I will not give you the answer, but I can guide you on how to get the answer if you have any questions. Just message me dun sa group chat natin, okay? Good luck!